fucking the soft generation.
Yeah.
A little falling tree never hurt anybody. It's like when I was growing up, my parents didn't care at all about my safety. Now we could unpack that, but I'm not going to therapy for it. So let's just pretend it's about weak and soft and not just negligent.
Let's just crack jokes about it. Like, I haven't worked through anything that happened in my youth, but I'm cracking
Exactly.
a joke as though I have.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
It's faster this way.
Welcome to another episode of Remap Radio. I'm your host, Rob Zachney, and this is episode 95 for May 30th, 2025. Today we are joined by Chia Contreras.
I don't know where the podcast starts. where do we
Or where
begin?
we begin. We're also joined by Patrick Klepek
Hi.
and Janet Garcia.
Hello. I have a video game question. Am I allowed to ask that even though I didn't write into the show? Is that allowed?
Yeah,
No.
first time.
You can write into
caller.
Janet at remapradio.com. That's where all the Janet questions for the podcast go.
Yeah, Janet,
long-time
from NoHo,
listener.
you're on the air.
Yeah, long-time listener. Been here since Waypoint episode 1. Back when people were trying to figure out what the name of the show was, and it turns out it was just
Vice's Guide to
Waypoint.
Games.
Exactly. So, yeah, love to see what y'all doing with Remap. Glad to see you, keep continuing. Anyway,
Thank you.
here's my question.
Go Mets.
Here's my question. And I feel this is gonna make me sound extremely young. I've played Castlevania. I love Castlevania. Portrait of Ruin. Big fan.
I was going to say, you
My
have
question
to
is-
say, what do you mean you played Castlevania?
Yeah, I played a couple Castlevanias, but Portrait of Ruin is the one I remember the most because it had that girl with the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had that girl with the book, and I was like, she was tearing it up with that book. Do I have a memory of actually the game specifically? Not really, but it's
Well,
like
I only ever really played Castlevania 64.
I have enough for the
What?
I have enough for like the podcast cloud if I play Castlevania. But here's my question.
That's the real one,
Metroidvania.
right? Sorry.
Sorry, caller. We're drunk.
So, Metroidvania. I get the Metroid part very well. What's the Vania part? In Metroidvanias. Like, Metroidvania is allegedly, pulling from Metroid and Castlevania. I get where it pulls from Metroid. Where does it pull from Castlevania? And this might just be because I don't remember Castlevania very strongly.
Well, they're both about exploring and unlocking places that you can't get to at first, and then you eventually just grope around the map until you find the thing you got to kill or the thing you got to pick up to go unlock the next chunk of the level. So I think that's the big what is the translation of the Japanese term for it was search action, right? Which is kind of the shorthand. I think that's probably a pretty good genre descriptor. It is. But I think it's just it's kind of, these are the two poles of this kind of game. But I do struggle to think what is archetypal about the genre that is that is happening in Castlevania that's not happening in Metroid.
Yeah, and then quick
specific-
Castlevania clarification.
Sure.
Is it still abilities or is it items? I just genuinely don't remember. Are you getting literal abilities? Because Metroid, I feel like it's more ability oriented, even though it's I guess sometimes it's just the gun shoots a different bullet color, which isn't really an ability.
I would say, I wish we had Jeremy Parrish on the call. Jeremy Parrish, commonly credited as coining the term Metroidvania, but did not, is my understanding, actually coined the term Metroidvania, but maybe responsible for popularizing the term, especially during the 1-Up era. But Super Metroid comes out in 94. Castlevania Symphony of the Night comes out in 97. And those are sort
Back
of
before they could make it 3D like they wanted.
Yes. And those are sort of the defining pillars of the non-linear interconnected space sort of game. And so it feels like those games are kind of generations apart, but they're actually pretty close. And so Super Metroid probably at the end of the day has if we're waiting the Metroid and the Vania part, Metroid defines it, Symphony of the Night popularizes it, refines it, and I think it's the a lot of what's in Symphony of the Night that ends up defining a lot of these sort of aesthetic and design stylings, even though the progression of Metroid as a series is doing all the heavy lifting. Then Symphony of the Night comes along and it's just this massive hit. Super Metroid was a big game, and Symphony of the Night was like just unbelievably popular at the time. And so I think that's where you end up mashing the two, because from Super Metroid or the Metroid series, you don't necessarily see a genre born, but from Symphony of the Night, you see a genre born. So it's sort of, and that's where you kind of get the crediting of the two, is they kind of go hand in hand in sort of synthesizing an attempt to describe a subgenre, and the same that we might call it like a Souls-like, right? Like there are other hard action games, but there's something that's saying Souls-like communicates better than, what did you call it, Rob? What was the rough translation?
Search action,
which is a kick-ass name.
Action.
Like Search Action is just an.
I would actually name it. I would play the shit out of a franchise called Search Action.
Action.
Yeah.
It's like tactical espionage action on.
Okay, so this would
Metal
basically
Gear
be
series.
like, which I feel like I can't remember if I played Symphony of the Night or if I just have said the name a lot in my life. Like,
So you played Portrait of Ruin, which means you have played Symphony of the Night, right? Like all of these games follow directly in the wake and are. Some of the GB8 DS games, I would argue, are probably on par. I would, if you went back to Symphony of the Night, you might appreciate it, but you might still have a game that you preferred more because of what they did in the wake of Symphony of the Night. But man, Symphony of the Night was it was also the origin, like the origins, or like one of the origin points of like the RPGing of video games. Like, I get to see numbers in an action game when I like crack my whip. Like, that is sick. And the wavy like level up, that game was full of like fun aesthetic stuff that I think helped contributed to its like, it felt Metroid is like a really isolating experience, and Symphony of the Night is like shooting off fireworks. Like, level up, bro! Like, way to go! Like, isn't that cool? And you're seeing your stats go up, and I think a lot of modern Metroid games, if not following that exact model, certainly lean heavy into the RPGing aspect that Symphony of the Night ends up really popularizing.
Is Metroidvania the only genre title that combines two game names and has two core attributions? Because I feel like everything else is like likes. Like, I feel like if this happened now, it'd be Metroid-like and not Metroidvania. Do we need to bring back combining two game names to get rid of the like epidemic that's plaguing the genre definitions of our modern era?
So they're not Souls-likes, they're...
Souls, and then what's the one closest to it next to it?
Scrolling through websites claiming to list game genres.
Because it's kind of interesting, like unique to this Metroidvania thing, where it's like they're both kind of, what is it? They're both search action, but they're so close to each other, and we're both so relevant that they kind of just share the genre name. But
I definitely always had assumed that it had to do with the fact that they both came out the same. The first ones of each of the franchise came out the same year, right?
Metroid and Castlevania?
Yeah, Metroid 1 and Castlevania.
Yeah, but
1.
Castlevania starts as a straight action game. Like, I mean, there's real arcade
Was it
roots.
still levels? I thought it still had a little bit of the like stuff, right?
I was more of a Metroid person than a Castlevania person. It's been a minute since I've played some, but I'm fairly certain that Castlevania starts as a more traditional,
more traditional
work through your levels, sort of thing. And it's really where Symphony of the Night and Super Metroid, where they sort of whoop.
Because the first Metroid was still that.
yeah,
This is the thing, like So
and it was
kind
like
of assumed.
good. Because isn't the first Castlevania like kind of like a pain in the ass to play? It's like kind of hell. Like in the modern era.
There's a reason I haven't played it. I can't play Castlevania until I beat Hop Shots. So
I'm pretty sure I watched
on
on YouTube. I watch a lot of like Some Call Me Johnny. He does a lot of those like retrospective videos, like going over that. And I'm pretty sure I think he did Castlevania, and I remember it looking like hell. I'm pretty sure that was a really like one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna experience it through this YouTube video, and that's kind of gonna be the extent of my understanding of this. But yeah, okay, cool. I should go back and play some of the Castlevania games.
Cannot, like, even in the Wikipedia entry for video game genres, Metroidvania is here listed as a subgenre under action adventure. I can't find That's a really interesting note. I did not observe that. It's
Like if they had a Balatro that came out really close to Balatro, we could just like put them together. You know what I mean? Because that's basically what happened. It's
But
like,
we didn't. But we didn't.
But we don't have it though. What would be the contender, right?
Hold on.
There's no Balatro next to Balatro. There's people chasing Balatro now, but no one's gotten close.
Kato.
Did you crack this wide open?
All right. When the whole class looks back at you and asks you to say something, what do we want you to say?
Roguelike deck build.
Now I want you to think about that.
Yeah.
Roguelike, named after the game Rogue. So
Yeah.
I feel. I know that one was sitting right in front of us. Right in front of us. But I think roguelike
It's still like though.
It's a like.
It's a
That's,
like.
that's
Yes.
a progenitor of the like, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the first mainstream like.
But I think it's
Oh, Souls before that actually?
No, that's where Souls like comes from because Souls like is a roguelike.
Okay, yeah. Oh my god. Ugh.
But ends up defining its own little subgenre in the process.
And I'm not anti, game like because I do think it works like pretty well. But I'm starting to think like I think we're doing it. I fear we need to go back to. I don't know. People aren't developing the same genre at the same time anymore, like they were back in the day. Yeah.
I think we cracked it open. People should write in if they have other examples of.
And
like, in the
specifically,
vernacular.
write in and give me forget the likes. Give me a like same game, same genre, near each other, and smoosh the names together to create a more like palatable genre name.
I think it's just. I also wonder. I feel like these exist in moments in time. Like Rob, I seem to recall, like in the wake of like Myst, there were a lot of Myst likes, right? Like that was like a way you would describe a lot of games that like, hey, Myst popularizes like this first-person puzzle style, and then there's like, Myst likes, but like that didn't survive. Roguelike survived.
Well, yeah, because like
FPS, first person solving. Oh, I'm sorry, but you bring Metroidvania to the table and suddenly we're eating it up.
No.
It's suddenly dinner time.
Metroidvania was wrong, and everyone should feel bad for it.
No, I'm on your side on that one. I liked that one.
But if we get another game like that, we are going to have to acknowledge that Metroidvania is happening. We're just in it.
Well, I think Metroidvania is happening in terms of what we're like. There's a genre that's forming, and we need a term for it. I just don't think Metroidvania is that term. I think people just. I think it sounds good.
Yeah, I don't think it's even a good descriptor, honestly. Like,
Yeah, I think it's almost a good descriptor. But I think that I was actually having this conversation on Indie Council because we were talking about genre in relation to like indie games and titles in general. I think the thing that I realized with Metroidvania, the reason that I don't think it works, because it's like, well, you're getting stuff and then you like get a thing that lets you progress further, which is like very similar to like the Metroid game flow. But one, as Kyle Hilliard often says when people misattribute Metroidvanias to things, I fear that's just good game design. That's one. Two, it's like, is it a Metroidvania or is it just a well-designed game? And then two, in Metroidvanias, you don't know, like in Metroid, it's like, oh, I get the blue shot and I can open the blue doors now. In Metroidvanias, you don't know the blue door exists, and that's like the key difference between them.
sure. Yeah, I think
So I don't. Yeah.
That's one of the big things about Metroidvanias that I think is missing from Blueprints is the sort of return to a space you've already been through, like the backtrack to a thing that's like, I couldn't go this way before, I've unlocked something else, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Except that it does that maybe in knowledge ways, but not like.
Well, especially Blueprints, you have to pull it.
Knowledge is
It's
an
not like
ability,
you can just.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so
that's
where
like the
the
ability is
brain-
knowledge.
The real
comes
morph
in.
ball is
Your mind
Your
is the-
insight. Yeah,
It's the morph ball of the
Damn
mind,
it.
but it's
Oh no.
yeah, like
I'm writing that down as the title of the episode. Sometimes
the
it
morph
just
ball of the mind,
comes out.
the morph ball stored in the mind.
God damn.
Janet doing her best.
Well, as always, we're your listener and reader supported show and website. If you enjoy Remap Radio, for some reason, wish to become a supporter, for whatever reason, you can learn more at remapradio.com/sign up, or just click the orange button in the upper right corner of the website. Our subscribers let us keep doing the shows, the streams, and the articles that define Remap. Quick heads up to many of our subscribers. Our anniversary is coming up, and that means about half of you are going to have your annual subscriptions auto-renew sometime in the next 30 days, or maybe in the next day or two. We appreciate the support, and we've loved having you with us these last couple of years. So whether you plan on sticking with us for the next year or not, please be sure and check your renewal and payment settings to make sure that you don't get surprised one way or the other. This is always a moment where you have a lot of people being like, "Oh shit, this is really awkward. I didn't intend to renew. Could
but I really like you.
refund
I like what
that?"
you do. I'll come back. I'll come back.
I no longer. This is the real one though. The card I signed up for,
Yeah.
I do not want to put an annual charge on. Could you give me that money back ASAP? So just make sure, whatever's whatever's in our system, whatever the settings are, make sure those are the settings you want. All right, we can get into today's topics.
One thing.
Yeah.
Before we do that, because we should be better at telling people. Especially, look, if you're already supporting Remap, you're going to keep supporting Remap. You're like, how else can I support Remap? We kind of pointed this out recently. Like, we do gift subscriptions, but we don't tell people or show them where to go to do it. But if you are to go to remapradio.com/gift, you can gift a subscription at any tier to someone in your life. You could give them a blessing or a curse, however you want to feel about it. But if you're already supporting us, looking for other ways, or want to introduce someone to everything that we're doing, remapradio.com/gift is a spot you can go to gift a sub to someone you know.
Maybe your parents would love Remap Radio.
We need to put that somewhere else on the website.
Like, literally, as Rob was
Just a
doing the spiel,
reminder.
part of my brain popped. It was like, right. I'm going to put in a gift promotion here, and then if I say it out loud, we'll all talk about a better way to put it on the website and loop it into what we do.
It's happening just as you planned.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Or perhaps a Zoomer or a Gen Alpha who needs to learn of the old ways and also might appreciate just guidance and navigating from seasoned gamers, people who've seen it all before. Maybe they would appreciate insights about life, video games, home improvement from people who, didn't grow up with ChatGPT and TikTok.
Dude, is someone in your life constantly going, Sigma? Sign them up for Remap Radio,
And that's on Skibbity.
My youngest favorite phrase this day is "what the Sigma," and it's upsetting.
That's rough.
Oh, boy. Jesus.
That felt bad. That felt bad
boy.
to say.
That's really tough. But remember when everyone was saying swag? That was a bad time too.
Yeah,
I never took the
That's
bait.
true.
I never introduced swag overly into my vocabulary.
Wow.
Do you know who's making a Skibbity Toilet movie?
Who?
No,
What?
Wait, 24.
is it PewDiePie?
Hold on, nobody knows this? Like, genuinely nobody knows this? Okay.
Martin
okay.
Scorsese.
No,
I've been watching the studio.
finally watching the
Maybe
film
that's
as
happening.
as he intended.
How could I give you
Alfonso Cuarón's Skibbity Toilet.
the, what would be a non-obvious hint?
Jordan Peele.
By the way, everyone should watch the Criterion Closet with Diego Luna. And obviously jet-lagged Diego Luna who just pulls a couple movies off the shelf, starts talking about a restaurant in Japan he really likes, but seems to have closed, but maybe they moved. So if anyone knows where this restaurant may have gone, please leave
That's
comments on
amazing.
this Criterion Closet YouTube channel. Thanks.
He's like, if you look like this restaurant, DM me.
Yeah.
The director of such films as Bad Boys, Transformers,
No.
Pearl
I
Harbor.
didn't even say Michael Bay
No.
because it just seemed too
Armageddon.
on point.
No.
Yes. They bought up the rights
I mean,
to
it is
Skibbity
about
Toilet.
it is about a war. That makes sense.
Sure. I'm just saying, they shouldn't make a movie based on Skibbity Toilet.
No.
But if they were going to make a movie based on Skibbity Toilet, isn't Michael Bay one of the funniest possible pairings for that film?
Isn't this just a rumor?
No.
I'm like looking it up now.
No, he put up
really?
a recently. This is a mouthful. I believe I have this right. He put up a teaser on his Instagram page, in which it's an AI generated teaser about some of the imagery they're thinking about. Now he put in the comments, of course, you know me. There'll be no AI in this film. It's just me working through how I want the film to look.
Yeah, help me make the real art.
I actually do kind of. I kind of believe. I want to believe, but then James Cameron has failed me, so I don't know who to trust anymore.
Are we gonna see it? Are we gonna see the G-Man head?
I don't know how you work out the sort
I
don't know how you work out the obvious copyright infringement. I guess. I don't know. I'm Michael Bay's lawyers are on it.
But maybe someone in your life wants a podcast where one of the hosts doesn't really know what Skibbity Toilet is.
Yeah.
And at this point, no longer wants to find out.
Doesn't need.
Not until we do an episode of My Turn in which you watch Michael Bay's Skibbity Toilet.
Fuck.
In which Rob travels to the furniture IMAX in order to take it in its full glory.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah.
That would be the place to see it.
It would be, right?
Surrounded by
Recline.
other thrones of other types.
All right, Patrick. When are we getting our official Switch from Nintendo?
No idea. I can certainly say this with full confidence as of this recording.